made you start a YouTube channel? No, this is completely normal, okay? Am I a basic bitch? I might be a basic bitch. I got so invested, okay? I gotta admit, like, I prepared them for life. Actually, Dina inspired it. She looks boring. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, that's a cute question. Good morning, my little starlights. It's yours truly, Luminara here, and welcome to our first anniversary Q&A. I made this video as a little bit of celebration of creating this channel and all of you who decided to become part of this small community we're building together. Thank you so much for all the questions under the Q&A post. There were actually way more than I expected. And yeah, maybe through this Q&A video, you will learn a little bit more about me, about the channel, about the background, some behind the scenes stuff, and some things in general. So grab your tea or coffee and let us get started with the very first Q&A on this channel. What made you start a YouTube channel? Okay, so I started my YouTube channel actually because of two things. Like, first, I really enjoyed watching creators talk about gacha games, especially like reviews, opinion videos, and like deeper discussions about certain topics. But I realized that while I was watching those videos, I was basically having conversations with myself in my head. No, this is completely normal, okay? But that was mostly because none of my close friends or family play gacha games. Actually, most of them don't play games at all. So I decided to create a space where I could share my thoughts and actually find people who enjoy the same topics. The second reason was art. I had been stuck in an art block for around like 2 or 3 years, something like that. And I felt like maybe creating a channel would help me finally, get out of it. I always wanted to design my own character. But first of all, I never did that before. Second of all, I have no knowledge about that because I was studying graphic design. So Luminara actually became this first fully designed character and my persona. Are you into any shows, comics, anime, books, etc.? And what genres do you enjoy the most? Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely more of a fantasy person. My all-time favorite is The Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. Yeah, I rewatch it at least once a year, usually as a full marathon. I just love the world. I just love the atmosphere and how timeless the story is. Am I a basic bitch? I might be a basic bitch, but that doesn't bother me, okay? Regarding the comics, I never really got into comics, but I have watched few anime, like for example, my favorite will be Full Metal Alchemist, the Brotherhood version. Kakegurui, I also enjoyed that. Fairy Tail, although at some point it was very repetitive. Naruto was my first anime, I believe. Noragami was also cool. And my most recent that I watched, it was Danron Meshi. I don't know if you pronounce that this way, but anyway, I wouldn't call myself like a hardcore anime fan, but I do enjoy anime when the story is cool or some characters visually interest me. And regarding the series, okay, that's gonna be good. Right now, I am super into Supernatural. I know this is an older show, okay, but I only recently found it and started watching it. And I got so invested, okay? If you like supernatural stories, a little bit of biblical themes and myths, darker fantasy themes, monster hunting, I totally recommend it. I totally recommend it. Who did you want to become when you were younger? Okay. When I was younger, I believe I wanted to be a lot of things, like all of us, I suppose. Most of them dependent on whatever game, book, or movie I was obsessed with at the time. At some point, actually not that long ago, I actually wanted to be a children's book illustrator because I had this beautiful book from my grandpa called Fairies and Elves, and I loved the illustrations there so much. I also wanted to work in the game industry, no surprises there, and I actually did for a moment, like in a very small company making games for children. I loved it. Okay, I loved it, but unfortunately it was very unstable kind of job. And when I was like, a little girl, I wanted to be an archaeologist, mostly because I was obsessed with Lara Croft. Like at that point in my head, archaeology meant running, jumping, climbing, and discovering ancient ruins. I obviously never decided to even research what archaeologists are doing because I had this vision in my head. I even had my own Lara Croft training, in my parents' attic, which once ended with me making a hole in the ceiling and hanging through it with one leg in the kitchen. My parents had a blast with me when I was a kid, okay? I gotta admit, like, I prepared them for life. I guess I always had this mix of like fantasy and games and nature and art somewhere in my head. I know that right now I am a graphic designer, so it's not fantasy magic, but it's still about art. And I also have my YouTube channel where I can be this fantasy being Luminara. So honestly, I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. What inspired your Aussie channel design, and is your mod design based on a specific moth species? Okay, so my OC is basically more fantasy version of me, or at least how I would like to be presented in more fantasy setting. I wanted Luminara to feel like me, but you know, with an oomph, with an wow effect. I actually chose the stars because obviously they represent light and moths are naturally drawn to light, but stars also represent wishes, and this channel was actually my wish to finally get out of my comfort zone, to get out of an art block, and to finally find people that are interested in similar things. And regarding, is your moth design based on a specific moth species? Yes. Luminara and Milkshake are actually inspired by real moth species, and it's called the white ermine moth. I chose it partly because it can be found in Poland, and I am from Poland, but also because I actually have a very personal memory connected to it. So when I was little, I got this very old camera. I started making photos of everything, and one of my favorite photos I ever took was actually of white ermine moth. Unfortunately, I can't find this photo. I don't know what happened with this photo. Unfortunately, I can't find this photo. I have no idea where it is. If I find any other photos that I took at the time, I will post it here. But it is very important memory to me because it was the thing that actually really started my love for macro photography and for photography later on. So yeah, Luminara is basically a mix of my own style, like more fantasy version of me, my memories and my wishes, to create this space where we can enjoy the same things together. What do you find the most fun to draw, and what is a piece of feedback you received that meant a lot to you? I believe for the longest time I would probably say fan art, but since I created my OC, I think my answer is my persona. It gives me so much joy to quote-unquote bring her to life. Like, for example, my whole Polaroid series is basically about showing Luminara in more real-life situations. I love showing her emotions, like small everyday moments and pieces of myself through her, basically. So right now, drawing Luminara is definitely one of most fun things for me, I would say. And what is a piece of feedback I received that meant a lot to me? Probably that constructive criticism is not meant to destroy you, but to help you grow. Like, it took me a long time to accept criticism without feeling like it meant that I was not good enough or like an attack. But at some point that I realized that I often make better things when I brainstorm with others or I listen to the feedback, like not blindly, that if someone says like this sucks, I'm gonna change everything. But you know, a good criticism that make me think, try some new things. Okay, do you prefer digital art or traditional art, and which medium feels most comfortable for you? Okay, right now, I definitely would say digital art feels most comfortable for me, but mostly because of the time. Digital art gives you so many useful tools like shortcuts, layers, liquify tool, the ability to change things much faster than traditional art and easier than traditional art because digital is way more forgiving. But I still have a huge love for traditional art. If I could, I would definitely draw more. I started with pencil drawing, especially like realism, and later I fell in love with watercolors and oils. It actually took me very long time to get used to digital art. I was really bad at the beginning. And you know, you might think that I get that, but I actually struggle a lot. For example, I struggle with the colors a lot. And because of that, a lot of my artworks use one main color and one complementary color because I try to keep it under control and I don't feel comfortable with a lot of colors. How long does it take you to finish an artwork, and would you ever do an art trade? it really depends on the piece, honestly. If it is something more simple like icons or small expressions, it can be much faster, especially if I use like a free pose reference or a base 3D models to help me with that. I believe those take me around 3 up to 6 hours, but more detailed illustrations take me much longer. For example, my current profile picture took me around 16 hours to finish. So yeah, it really depends on the level of detail, the rendering, and also whether I feel the artwork while working on it. For example, I had to take breaks while working on the profile picture because sometimes I don't know, I lose the spark, or I feel that I won't finish it the way I would like to because I am exhausted or busy. And yeah, I would definitely be open to an art trade. I might be a little slow with my side, but if you'd like to do one with me, you can definitely message me on Instagram or X and we can talk about the details. Will there be more art content in the future? Would you draw more fan art / WUWA art or mostly OCs? And do you participate in things like art fight? Definitely yes. There will be more art content in the future. I think right now I mostly need to organize my channel better and I don't know, try to figure out what kind of content I really want to focus on long term, because I feel like I was trying to do too many different things at once. But I actually have an awesome idea for a series that I'm very excited about, but it would take me a lot of time. So, okay, listen. And let me know down in the comments what you think about it. I would love to make a series of videos where we would go deeper into character designs from WUWA. Like analyzing how their visuals connected to their personality, like their role in the story, cultural inspiration, like symbolism and things like that. Actually, Dinia inspired it. And then, based on that analysis, I would redesign the character in my own style, in my own way, not like to fix the design or, I don't know, make it better or whatever, but more like an alternative interpretation that pushes certain themes even farther. Like, for example, Jian being a general, and I would like research, and Huanlong, I believe, is inspired by China. So like researching how generals looked, based on that, redesign the Jian, and you know, to push certain themes even farther outside the gacha standards. I think that could be a really fun way for me, first of all, to improve as an artist, but also as making our own series on this channel and create my identity in the space more. So let me know if that is something that you would actually like to watch. I think that's a cool idea. And when it comes to things like art fight, no, sadly not. Most because of the time, like working full time while also running the channel is already very exhausting. So I try not to join the events that I know that I would not be able to like fully commit to. If you could redesign one Wuthering Waves character with 0 restrictions, who would you choose and what would you change? Okay, I'm sorry to everyone, but I think I would choose Linnea. I don't hate her design or anything, but I feel like her concept is weak and could be pushed way further visually, especially considering her personality and her background. She, you know, already has some interesting details, but I think her design could use a bit more, especially individuality and like stronger visual storytelling. She looks boring. I'm sorry. She looks boring, and she's actually one of the few characters where I was not drawn to pull at all because of the design alone. So if you are a Linnea fan, please don't kill me. Don't kill me. You can absolutely actually tell me in the comments why you love her and her design, and maybe you will change my mind a little. I don't know. Besides gachas, what is your favorite single player game? Oh wow, okay, that's a hard one. Okay, that's a hard one. Wait, okay, that actually might surprise you because I talk a lot about fantasy, but my all-time favorite, like all-time, would be a trilogy of Mass Effect. We are talking about the original trilogy, we're not talking about the Andromeda or whatever else they created. I love these games more than any other game series. I believe second choice would be The Witcher. And like, I don't mean only The Witcher 3, but like a whole series, the whole trilogy. And obviously I also read the books because I'm from Poland and The Witcher is basically a national treasure. And it's kind of unavoidable here, I would say. What is your favorite dessert and what dessert would you love to try someday? Oh, okay, that's a cute question. I like this question. Right now, my favorite dessert, or I don't know if you could call it a dessert, at least a sweet treat. It's definitely a croissant with pistachio filling. I discovered it when I was in Italy and there was this elderly lady who was ordering her croissant with morning coffee every single day. And I decided to try it, and since then, it became my favorite thing to get when I have a little cheat day, because normally I have to stay on a pretty strict diet because of my health issues. On the desserts that I would really love to try someday would be original Japanese fluffy cheesecake. Listen, I love Polish cheesecake, obviously without raisins, but I tried to make Japanese cheesecake myself. I actually really enjoy baking, even if I usually bake more for other people than for myself. But for some reason, I never managed to bake it properly. Okay, that would be it for today. Honestly, there were way more questions than I expected. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about my answers? Did you learn something new? Or maybe you would like to answer some of these questions yourself? I would love to read your comments and learn a little bit more about you. Also, remember that I am planning to make a live stream on June 8th, on the day of the new update and the Cyberpunk collab. I will make a post asking which hour work best for you, and I will try to include time zones for different regions, so hopefully we can pull for Lucy and Rebecca together. If everything goes well, I should have around 250 to 300 pulls, so it will be a pretty big pulling session, not gonna lie. Yeah, I was doing my best. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this type of video. Remember to share and subscribe if you want to be part of this little magical family, and as always, stay cozy, stay shiny, and I love you so much, Starlights. Bye!